My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. It's been well past halfway in this tournament, and we are back to the very beginning. Simply because these are the two teams who started the tournament off and how different the scenario was. This was the big marquee encounter. Two former champions going head to head, and they are back again, Chennai versus Mumbai. Strangely, Chennai won that first match, but after that, it was downhill all the way for the men in yellow. Mumbai went on an upward spiral, and here they are clashing again. Mumbai on the verge of qualification. Chennai looking to survive, hanging on by a thread. I'm joined by Simon Doull and Harsha Bhogle. We briefly touched upon it in our preview, Harsha, but that really is a change of scenario, even though it's the same marquee game.
You know, it's interesting because Mumbai are seeking to reach 14 points. But since that first game, Mumbai haven't lost a game in full time. The two games that Mumbai have lost have both been in the super over. So Mumbai actually haven't lost a game in full time. That's how good they've been. Little chinks here and there that every team will have that. No Rohit Sharma today is a factor. But it's incredible just how they've gone. Some of us feared that could happen to Chennai Super Kings, but I don't think anyone thought that it would all come together like that.
Yeah, just to update you, you heard it from Harsha. That is the big news. Karan Pollard coming out to toss because Rohit Sharma, they're just monitoring his hamstring there. And it will be Chennai who will bat first after Karan Pollard won the toss. Dooley in Sharjah. Initially, when things started, run first, win toss, bat first, put on 200. That's all. Things have changed even there.
Yeah, they have changed. Surfaces have slowed up a lot, and that's the one thing we have seen in the last 3-4 games, 5 games in Sharjah. Sixes, they're not raining anymore, and the pitches have slowed up. They're only using 2 different pitches, and they have certainly not taken a huge amount of turn, but they've just got lower and slower and harder to play on. So therefore, when it second innings, when it's just skidding on a little bit, it just seems to be a tiny bit easier to bat. There is a little bit more dew. We've talked about that. I know Harsha will probably back me up here. It's just got a little cooler in the UAE. And that's what happens when you have these hot days and the cooler nights. Then the dew does form and it becomes a little more prevalent at night. And so therefore the ball just skids on, gets a little sheen.
There was a little bit, Gautam, just a little bit the other night in Abu Dhabi. Not dew as we know it, but there was certainly just a little tinge of moisture. But interesting listening to Dooley, because it means that all those kids outside the hardware shops outside who had their second-hand business with cricket balls, their business is down a little too.
It certainly is down. And if you look at these two teams, it's not exactly, they haven't been the biggest 6-hitting teams. No. Definitely not Chennai who are going to be batting first. But we're going to do something slightly different here. We'll have a quick look at the points table and we'll come to the teams in a few minutes. But we want to spend a few minutes on Chennai themselves. First, a look at the points table and why it's so important for them. Theoretically, they can get to 14, and we've discussed that there have been several teams who have qualified with 14 points, even 12 last year, which was a bit of an anomaly. But 14, if they can make it, at least they'll feel they give themselves a chance. So for all you Chennai fans who have said, we're already starting to talk about next year, don't. You're still in it. But what we will do is we'll still put up the Chennai squad, particularly those maybe on the wrong side of 30, shall we say, and there are a few of them, and try and get a little discussion going as to where we see the future for all these, many of them, stalwarts of the game. So here's a look at the oldest players in the Chennai squad, and it starts with the young Suresh Raina, who's not here this time, but he will be part of it very soon. And then Raidu, Kedar Jadhav, Faf, they're all in the mid-30s, and we go all the way up to Imran Tahir. 41 years, 210 days, and playing today, the other big news. But Harsha, I'll start with you. Where do you look, where do you see these players in a few months' time or more?
To me, the key is how much cricket are they going to get between now and the next tournament. If the next tournament is indeed in early April, as we hope it is, late March, early April, we're talking of 4 or 5 months. And a lot of those aren't actually getting duty with the Indian team. So it's important to see 2 things. How much cricket are they getting? And 2, is there the option of replacing them? If the option of replacing them exists, then I think there might be a few hard decisions there. But if that option doesn't exist for whatever reason, then I'd like to see CSK just ensuring that the likes of Chawla, the likes of Raidu, the likes of Raina, they just get a lot of cricket. Raina's played very little cricket. Raidu had not played a game in 2020 before this started. So just ensure they get more games. But if they have the option of letting people go, if there indeed is a big auction, then all eyes will be on CSK. I think there'll be a few places up for grabs there.
Dooley, you see a few blanks in there?
Yes, I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I mean, I'm very much like Harsha. I mean, of that list that we put up there, to me, Faf du Plessis stays. Ambati Raidu, if he's playing some cricket, can stay. And maybe Kedar Jadhav, if he's playing some cricket. Outside of that, Suresh Raina, the same thing. I put him in that same bracket. But from Faf du Plessis down, they're the 4 players I would think about. Everyone from Faf du Plessis up, gone. See you later. If they're allowed to leave those guys out and then maybe buy some fresh players, some young players, you can build a team around that bottom 4. And then with that, you throw in Mitchell Santner, you throw in Josh Hazlewood, you throw in Sam Curran, you throw in Jagdishan, who's playing today, and there are options for Chennai. It's just a matter of they cannot go through another tournament with those old, weary, tired legs and guys who are just not playing any cricket. This tournament is too good. The quality of opposition is far too good for you to walk in here having not played any form of cricket at all, and particularly not any international cricket, because you just get found out.
And there's too many of those, Gautam. If you remember right at the start of this year's tournament, we talked about some of the greats of the game who started playing only IPL to IPL. We talked about Adam Gilchrist, Matthew Hayden, people like those who dominated the world game, started playing IPL to IPL, and they appeared visibly rusty by the time they came into their second or third IPL after retiring. So it's not easy to just come back, and it's not even a 2 or 3 week tournament. It takes its toll on you. So they've got a few very hard decisions. Their approach so far has been leave it to MS, and MS will decide. We'll run the administration. MS will run the team. But I think now they'll have to take a hard call. I think MS will have to take a call himself, because I have never seen MS Dhoni talk at press conferences with a resigned look. And that is not Dhoni, but he's talking with a resigned look. So I don't know what the atmosphere in that team is, because you said right at the start, there's still a slim chance if they win 4 games. I don't know if they're thinking like that. I mean, every team has to think like that, but I don't know if they are.
Well, the question you've posed, Harsha, is the $1 million question. I mean, yes, if MS runs the cricket, but the point is, who runs MS at the moment? Does he make it? How long for MSD? And again, it's that same quandary of not playing international cricket, Dooley.
Yeah, look, the one thing you will always guarantee with MS, and I mean, I've seen him a few times now in this tournament, although we can't get too close. He is fit. He's physically still fit. He's very strong. He's actually got bigger. He's actually really gym fit at the moment. So you'll never, ever question his fitness and his regime and his want to perform. It's just that what happens is the body doesn't allow you to perform. The eyes don't quite match up to the hand speed and the feet speed anymore. That you just lose that ability, and that's what you don't want to see from an absolute great of the game like MS. He deserves to go out on his own terms, and he will. He'll do that whether it's this time, whether it's next time. He'll go out on his own terms. But from a fan point of view, and I can talk as a fan because I've absolutely loved watching him play, I don't want to see him at the end of his career struggling. It's the last thing I want to see. It's the last thing he would want, I'm sure, and the last thing Chennai Super Kings and Indian cricket fans would want. So he has to make this call himself. If he thinks about running the cricket, then I think he and Stephen Fleming have still got a great combination to basically look after this Chennai side and drag them through. And what better mentor, coach, guy to have around the team? He's a jovial character. He's a fun-loving character, and in an environment where he's not playing, I think he'd be even more so. And we might see that side of him change completely, and he might just drag some of these youngsters through, and they're going to have to look at that.
Harsha, you were on commentary the other day when he took that one-handed catch down the leg side, and was it Sanju Samson maybe? But I remember
his keeping hasn't gone.
Saying, is anyone questioning that man? And you could see it. I mean, there was passion in the voice, just like there would be with all fans.
Yeah, but the keeping hasn't gone. I think what Dooley was saying was about the eyes and the hand and the almost collateral message that they are sending to they're approaching the ball with. The keeping is still fine. I think his ability to deduce a DRS is still sharp, but it's the batting that is the issue, because even when he plays 20, 25 balls, like he did in 2019. If you look at his strike rates in 2018, 2019, they were 135, 140. That has not happened this year. There was one ball, I think he tried to hit a full toss out of the ground and dribbled it to long off or long on. And I thought, no, that doesn't happen with MS. So and he's smarter than all of us. He knows his game better than all of us. So I mean, I know inside he knows that this is not the old MS.
Let's quickly wrap up this discussion with a view from someone we just mentioned, Stephen Fleming. They do form a great combination. What that combination will be in future, we're not sure. Player and coach and coach. It's fair to say, looking at the table now, that this team may have run out of juice. Interesting comment there. If you're looking at the 3-year cycle, we won the first year, lost of the last ball last year, and we always thought the third year with an aging squad would be difficult. Abu Dhabi has challenged us with a whole new set of requirements, and Dubai rather has challenged us with a whole new set of requirements. So interesting words from Stephen Fleming, Simon Doull.
Yeah, and spot on. I mean, when you look back and you think, okay, that final when they lost on the last ball, the one that they won the year before, they picked a squad that could play at Chepak, at Chennai. They wanted a team that could play there and dominate there, and they did. And they dominated with 140 on the board. They were brilliant, and that's what they picked. And they hoped that for 3 years. Look, this pandemic has turned the whole world on its head. And nobody foresaw this. Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw that we would be playing on far better, fast, bouncy pitches at the start of this 2020 IPL. So they got it right. And I'm never going to say that they got it wrong, because they won a title and they finished second by a ball. And this year they might finish last, but they got it right. It's bang on for 2 years running, and that's what they are. I mean, that's what they're honest about, and they can see that. And Stephen Fleming's going to be honest about it. Okay, they were worried about the third year, and that's happened. But I mean, this is still a champion franchise, and that's what you have to look. They were smart enough to say, we need experience, we need older guys in and around our team. 2 years ago, they did it. They got it right, and this year's just been a little bit of a downfall for them.
Yeah, you'd have to feel for Flem, won't you, Harsha?
Yes, but he's coach of a side that's been given to him. So he's got to make the most of what he has. We've all seen that when our pocket money was always less than what we wanted to buy. So he's got the sum of his talents at the moment, the sum of talents as they are playing today, not as they have been, is not enough, he believes, for him to win a championship. I'm more interested in what they do in the last 4 games now, because the coach is saying they've run out of juice. Dhoni is for the first time in his life sounding apologetic, saying there's not some spark in the youngsters as well. If I was Jagadisan today at Ruturaj, I'd say, Captain, please let me prove you wrong. And Dwayne Bravo on his way out has also sounded apologetic in the message that he left before he went. And I thought, no, hang on, there's 4 games still to be played. You don't want CSK to be the team that everybody wants to play in this situation, because that's not what CSK is. So I think they'll really struggle if there isn't a major auction. But even if there isn't a major auction, if there's a smaller auction, they've got to pick from what there is and cobble together a team for next year.
Yeah, but let's stick to the team for tonight in Sharjah, because we talked about an aging side. You've got the oldest member who's come in, but he has to be the most enthusiastic, the most ebullient member of the side, and he's going to infuse some energy. If there was any lack of energy, it's going to come from Imran Tahir. We've already mentioned he comes in there. Ruturaj Gaikwad didn't have a great outing earlier. He comes back in, as does Jagadisan. So these 3 guys will really infuse something. 3 overseas players there for Chennai. For Mumbai, it's a 1-for-1 change. Rohit Sharma goes out. In comes Saurabh Tiwari. With only question will be who's going to open the batting. We'll find out in a while, because they, of course, aren't batting first. Karan Pollard, yet another reminder, has won the toss and asked Chennai to bat first, which means a bit of hard work for you guys. Yeah, get in your My 11 Circle teams. You've all had Rohit Sharma sitting there, camping there every single game. Sorry, guys, you've got to get him out right now, however much you love him, because he's not playing. You need 11 people who are playing. Select the match, create your own team, captain and a vice captain. I reckon someone like Imran Tahir, always a good bet to get in there. But I'm not going to give too much away. Just first reaction, gentlemen. We've talked briefly about the composition of the teams. Anyone stands out at the moment in terms of that composition, Harsha?
The interesting one is both Ruturaj Gaikwad, who's had such a good career with Maharashtra and India A so far as a top order player. Jagadisan is a top order player. Jadeja needs desperately to move up the order. He's the one person who's looking good among that middle order. But if they're going to open with Curran, because it's an experiment that's, when it comes off, gives them the momentum that they need. If they're going to open with Curran and Faf, everyone else, these two young kids are already playing out of position because you want Raidu to bat at 3. So it'll be interesting to see who's going to give that side a bit of a push. I'd like to see Jadeja come up because he's looked really good. So I don't know. Let's see how they go, how Jagadish and Ruturaj Gaikwad and all these others go. But they know they need 170 against this Mumbai Indians batting side.
Yeah, one thing's for sure, you'll get a bit of aggression, Dooley, from the skipper, the new skipper.
Yeah, look, I think I'd go with either one of those two at the top, Harsha, with Faf du Plessis. If they look into next year, then move Sam Curran back down and go with maybe Jagadishan at the top. Raidu's still at 3, so Jagadishan and Faf at the top. Raidu at 3, Gaikwad at 4. I'd have Jadu at 5, and probably have Sam Curran at 6, and MS at 7. And if they're looking to the future and they're looking for that, then that's probably makes more sense. Sam Curran may not be their option to open the batting next year. So give those young guys their best opportunity at a position where they're kind of used to it. And I'd like to see that. Whether that happens or not, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, that would be the way I think I would prefer them to go.
Yeah, it'd be interesting balance between trying to make sure that happens, but not losing sight of the fact that you've got a cricket match to win. In fact, 4 cricket matches to win in a row. So Chennai will be fully aware of that. But back on our show, let's look for our boost stamina meter. And straight away, when you talk about this particular individual, yes, he's somebody who will strike you as someone who likes to be involved. Have a look at the leaderboard. These are the stamina scores. But let's go on to the next set of numbers and see exactly why we're talking about Kieron Pollard. Because for some reason, no matter what he does with bat, how much he'll bowl, we're not sure. He tends to bowl a little bit more. He likes to give himself the ball. But I think the one we want to look at is he has not been dismissed in the last 6 innings. So with with Mumbai chasing today, his role will be a little different. But one thing's for sure, Harsha, Kieron Pollard will be extra involved. So the boost stamina meter, he'll be right in it.
I saw some of the CPL games. You were there too. I saw some of the CPL games. He was bang in the middle of everything. He's a very involved captain. But one of the reasons he's not been out in the last 6 innings is he's just not given himself enough time to get out. I mean, he's got to be in for long enough to get out. And I'd like to see him get more deliveries. His strike rate's 200. So I'd like to see him give himself a little bit more time with the bat. But you're right, he's different from the West Indies players of the past who were aggressive in action, but not in their in their approach, body language, of course, but not in their approach. He's in your face. He's willing to be there, and he's a big sight down there, looking at you like that. If he came to look at me, I'd look at the sky and look somewhere else like that.
Even when he comes face to face with his best buddy Dwayne Bravo, if you weren't aware of their equation, and if you were just a neutral who had landed from Mars, you'd be like, these two guys are sworn enemies. Keep them away.
Yeah, you would, but I do. I agree with Harsha. He likes that's that intensity that he brings, and his willingness and his want to win and to do well and perform. And he's a smart cricketer. I mean, you don't get to captain sides around the world when you're not a smart cricketer. And he's got a lot of cricket nous about him, Kieron Pollard, and he's been such a huge part of this Mumbai outfit for a long time now, and a reason why they are generally always there or thereabouts.
Yep. Perhaps another reason why, if you talk to anyone around West Indian cricket, they were delighted to get him back as captain of the limited overs side in place of Carlos Brathwaite, who, whatever he might contribute, didn't have that extra spark, the extra aggression. But we've got time enough to remind you that you've put in your teams, but would you like a last-minute tip? Yeah, My 11 Circle trump card today. It's not someone you've had in for every single game, but look at his last few games. It's changed. First 4 matches, the strike rate, 120. Didn't score enough runs. Next 5 matches, 154 the strike rate, and he's got 450s in 5 innings, does Quinton de Kock. So just in case you don't have him, put him in. He looks like a definite success. But Chennai will be batting first. They've been put into bat by Kieron Pollard. And the Bumrah factor, Harsha. We talked about the Jofra factor yesterday. The Bumrah factor will be something to contend with, even in Sharjah.
Yeah, but the only difference there is Bumrah is playing alongside Coulter-Nile, he's playing alongside Trent Bolt, he's playing alongside other bowlers that the captain can look at, and these are international caliber bowlers the captain can go to. Yesterday with Jofra, it was a tricky one. I gave him one more, and then I look around, the others are going at 15 and over. So, Bumrah will be excellent. I think even more than Bumrah, and the Bumrah factor is always there for Mumbai Indians. They'll want to see if Bolt can get that back. He's had a couple of iffy games. He's also delivered 7 wickets in the power play. But if Bolt can start giving wickets in the power play, that side becomes very different. So it's like the two overseas players, Quinton de Kock at the top and Trent Bolt. They play those key roles. Once Bolt plays his role, Bumrah's role becomes that much easier and that much more effective.
Little local knowledge, Dooley. What kind of character is Trent Bolt if he's had maybe an off game and a half?
Well, he very rarely has back-to-back ones, so that's something you can look forward to. He's a terrifically hard worker, Trent Bolt. He's I won't say he's stats driven, but he knows exactly how many runs he's gone for. He knows his RPO. He knows how many wickets he's got. And to me, that just aids to his what should be another good performance for him today. He finds a way to get it right. And when you look at that economy rate, 7 wickets inside that power play, along with Deepak Chahar. Chahar's always going to be there, I expect, because he always bowls 3 overs, or generally will bowl 3 overs in the power play. Most of those other guys bowl 1, maybe 2. But it's that effect, and Harsh is so right. When Bolt gets it going up front, it makes Bumrah's job. He can come and he can attack, or they have to start scoring runs off Jasprit Bumrah. And when you've got to go at Bumrah, he's going to pick up wickets all the time. I was a little bit confused why they bought Coulter-Nile in. I know there might have been something around Pattinson and just a little niggle, but to stick with him, I'm not sure. I know he adds to the batting, but Mumbai's one of those sides that don't need extra batting power, I don't think.
Yeah, but the beauty of Jasprit Bumrah, Harsha, just to finish on him,
yes.
All formats, all situations. That was making him special.
Yes. And I mean, you can always rely on him to bowl at the death. He's hard and aggressive at the top. Their ideal format is Bumrah bowls 1 in the first 6. It's almost programmed. He bowls 1 around 12, 13, and they reserve 2 at the back. And the way for them to go about it, the reason I kept bringing Bolt up is the reason, if Bolt delivers 3 at the top, this template works for them. That Bumrah bowls 1, 1, and 2 at the end. And he's invaluable at the end. Look at this side. Trent Bolt, not the best death bowler. Coulter-Nile, definitely not the best death bowler. So they need those 2 from Bumrah at the back. So that is why I kept linking Bumrah with Bolt. They don't have Malinga. Remember, even an aging Malinga, they still trusted him to bowl at the back. Yeah. So that is where Pattinson, I think, is a better bet than Coulter-Nile to bowl at the back end. And I mean, he just brought so much bustle to the bowling. But Bumrah, I mean, Archer, Rabada, Bumrah, they've lit up this tournament in their own way.
Yes, I can tell you we played a little with initials yesterday, and it took me back very briefly to a Christmas ad that used to be one of my all-time favorites. It was a brand. We won't talk too much about the brand, but it simply said, those 2 letters were removed, and it said Inglels, and the baseline was, what's life without a little J and B? Yeah, not Jasprit Bumrah. At the moment, we're talking about what's life without a little Joy Bhattacharya on the show towards the end. The joy factor question, whether it's Christmas or not, I think it's a very clever ad. For today is, which cricketer's autobiography gets its name from a comment made by a cricketer during a test match at the Oval in 1994? There's an interesting one. Think back to 1994. Comment made by a cricketer and an autobiography comes from it. So it's got to be relevant. It's got to be topical. I'm not sure how, but that's what the questions generally are. So we let everyone to ponder on that. And for the moment, with Trent Bolt in charge of the opening over for the Mumbai Indians, I'll leave it to his fellow countrymen to be the first to lay down the gauntlet for our My 11 Circle badge of honor.
Gosh, the run will continue. It's not great. 158.
158. Fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, last time they played was 125. Last time they played in Sharjah was 175. I don't know. I'm actually going a little under. Let's see. I'm going 152.
Fair enough. I'm not going to have such a close window like yesterday. I'm going a little higher. I'll go 170. I'll go 170. Open the windows up a little bit more. Give them a little chance. 4 games in 4, they have to win. Come on, Chennai. You've got to keep this tournament alive. Let's make it about 8 teams when we
Why
finish the
do I
show
get
tonight.
the feeling you've got a few Chennai players in
No.
your
It's promise you. It's for a change. It's got nothing to do with that because I didn't make too many changes. I did not make too many changes.
Okay.
So it was one of those games because you want to save a lot of changes for the weekend. Okay, so let's stick to that. Cricbuzz Combox in the 10th over, and will Chennai make it that far or not? Well, we will be there to discuss it all. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. See you soon.